Jump Force's roster is made up of characters from Weekly Shonen Jump. Weekly Shonen Jump is a magazine published in Japan, of course, and it's owned by the company Shueisha. This is an important thing to mention because the subject of this video is Shueisha's biggest mistake with Jump Force. And of course, this is an incredibly opinionated video, but I haven't seen anyone express this opinion before in public, or at least not in a public setting, so I'd like to use my limited platform to discuss this specific problem. So, I think the biggest mistake from Shueisha as it pertains to Jump Force is the very idea. The concept of Jump Force is an arena fighter made up of characters from Weekly Shonen Jump. This is to celebrate 50 years of Weekly Shonen Jump. In my opinion, this is the biggest mistake. Why is there such a distinction between Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump versus their V-Jump versus their Weekly Young Jump? Why make that very specific distinction? The answer is that Weekly Shonen Jump sells incredibly well. The question is, why would Shueisha not use their entire library of characters? For example, V-Jump is a magazine that is printed monthly. It's mostly about gaming stuff, but it also features a couple manga series. For example, the Dragon Ball Super series is in V-Jump, which if we follow the rules of Jump Force, Jiren, Beerus, Hit, Goku Black, and a handful of other characters can never be in a game like Jump Force. Personally, I don't really care about that because I already got my favorite Dragon Ball characters, but what if I was a huge Beerus fan? Or what if I was a big Hit fan? Or what if I was a big Whis fan? I mean, Whis didn't even make it to Fighters. He wasn't making it to Jump Force, but you get my point. This also affects Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, which have also been published in V-Jump. Yusei Fudo and Jaden Yuki could have been awesome Jump Force characters. Imagine Jaden Yuki's elemental heroes and Yusei's synchro techniques. And in all honesty, I think Jaden would have had a real shot if it wasn't for the fact that he was published in V-Jump. Heck, even Digimon is published in V-Jump. Jump Square is another magazine owned by the same company. They print Blue Exorcist, and believe it or not, I saw a lot of requests for Rin leading up to the release of Jump Force. Moving over to another magazine printed by the same company, Ultra Jump. Little Witch Academia and Ruby are both printed in this magazine. Imagine a character like Ruby Rose inside of Jump Force. Heck, they could even have access to Tokyo Ghoul, which was printed in Weekly Young Jump, another magazine owned by Shueisha. Last year was the 25th anniversary of Weekly Shonen Jump, but I'm just saying, in 5 years from now, it's the 100th anniversary of Shueisha, and perhaps a massive crossover game featuring representatives from across all, or not all, but most of Shueisha's properties would be justified. And don't get me wrong, I completely understand why they choose to stick within the realm of Weekly Shonen Jump, but it's not because it's a celebration of 25 years or anything, it's simply because of the library of characters that you have. It's so large, you'll never be able to make everybody happy because so many people want so many different characters. So if you limit yourself to specifically Weekly Shonen Jump, you will be inherently subverting expectations just a teensy bit. And of course, most of Shueisha's most popular characters are already in Weekly Shonen Jump, so it's the perfect thing to limit yourself to. And there's another reason to limit yourself. It's licensing. When it comes to series and characters and these types of discussions, I talk about licensing a lot. And most of the time, when I do talk about licensing, I usually say something along the lines of, it's complicated and difficult and expensive. And recently I had someone ask me in my comment section if I could dedicate an entire video to talking about how difficult and why it's so difficult for these companies to work with licensings outside of Japan. And my immediate reaction was, nope, this is way out of my field of expertise. I will not talk about something I have so little information and so little knowledge about, especially because I would have to talk about it for so long. Nope, I am not platforming information that I do not understand. But what I will say is that I do understand enough about it to say that it is incredibly complicated, especially outside of Japan. So it does bother me a little bit to see people in the community to say things like, oh, they should have added Suna, or they should have added Alan Walker, or something like that. Because I understand if you're a fan of that character, the same way that I can empathize with that because I didn't get Koro Sensei or Nagisa or even Medaka, who I would have been really happy to see. I can understand complaining about that. But on the other hand, this situation is far more complicated than they should have added X thing. So when I make this video talking about how they should encompass the entirety of Shueisha, rather than just Weekly Shonen Jump, that isn't to say, well, they should have added Blue Exorcist and they should have added Ruby and they should have added Little Witch Academia, even though those things would have been cool. The distinction is that if they have Dragon Ball in the game, at least to my knowledge, and again, I'm working outside of my expertise, I'm pretty sure if they've got Dragon Ball characters in there, they've had to license Dragon Ball as a series, and I'm pretty sure there's not individual licenses for Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, and Dragon Ball, so I'm pretty sure logistically and legally they can have characters like Jiren and Beerus, but they can't because they've limited themselves specifically to Weekly Shonen Jump. That's not a legal or a licensing issue, that's just the rules that they've set for themselves. So this video is just to say, I wish they would broaden that horizon from outside of Shueisha, not only because it gives us the potential for things like, heck, even Digimon, or like I said, Ruby, and all of these other series that are in different Shueisha magazines, but it also gives us a chance at characters that they already have licenses for, because they've licensed the series. So Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball, the best examples that I could think of for this video. Characters from those series stood a real chance to get into the game, but they're not technically Weekly Shonen Jump characters. So bar the rules that Shueisha have set themselves specifically for this game, they can't put in Jaden Yuki, and they can't put in Yusei Fudo, and they can't put in Stardust Dragon, or any of these other crazy characters that would have been pretty awesome to see inside of Jump Force. If you enjoyed this video, I would very much appreciate a like on it. Make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with content like this. My name has been Bilbzy, and I will see you in the next video.